Internet, good morning. My name is Magnitude, and with X and Y essentially no longer going to be a thing, apparently, seeing as, Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire coming out soon, I guess it's going to be a thing, but it's just going to be not played nearly as much, especially since the compatibility seems to be limited. I wanted to just discuss the top Pokemon, the top 5 Pokemon that came out in X and Y that excited me the most and I was the biggest fan of and since the games have come out. Number 5, we're sitting at Talonflame. Competitiveness aside, Talonflame puts a new spin on that bird Pokemon that you get when the game starts. Every game's had them. You've had Pidgey, you've had like Hoot Hoot, you've had Tailo. You get the picture. Every time in the first route, generally, there's a normal type bird Pokemon that you can get, and it'll help you. Generally, you had that thing for a long time. In X and Y, they decided to make that part fire, give him fire moves early, and essentially just kind of mix up what they're doing as opposed to, earlier Pokemon. I was a big fan of the way X and Y did that, how they gave earlier routes different typings of Pokemon, because I believe in Red and Blue you had a Rattata, you had Pidgey, I guess you could get Nidoran over in the route right before where the Victory Road is. You go in the forest, you can get Pikachu, Weedle, but the options of X and Y, you can get the ground type with Bunnelby, you can get the bug types, obviously the bug types. You can get fairy types, you can get water types, you can get a fire, you can get a lot of different. You can get Pikachu, you can get a lot of different stuff, and I was a big fan of how they incorporated that to make the beginning of the game more diverse. At number 4, it's Furfrou. Big fan of not only the ability Fur Coat's exclusive ability to pretty much, not pretty much, it exactly halves all physical damage. I'm also a big fan of the way how they made his haircuts to literally change his appearance. You can unlock more haircuts that change his appearance both in battle. The only downside of that I did not like or wasn't a fan of is when you put it in the PC, the haircut goes back to normal. So you kind of restricted to keep Furfrou in your party unless you want to keep going back to Lumios to keep getting a different haircut. But I was a huge fan of how they modified. Literally, you could modify its appearance just based on the haircut that it gets, because the haircuts back in the day used to help make Pokemon friendly. That was what you did. Usually you got the Eevee from Gold and Silver. You went down and you got the haircut in the underground passage. And this is making me really nostalgic, guys, to talk about this stuff like this. You get the Eevee, you go down and get the haircut to evolve to either an Umbreon or an Espeon in the daytime and nighttime. Remember when Gold and Silver first introduced daytime and nighttime? How just awesome that was. It went off the clock. That was sweet. But Furfrou, a huge fan of how it had so many different, but they're not even forms, they're just looks. I love how they did that with the looks. Number 3 is Dragalge. Dragalge was an interesting thing for me. It's not on really anybody's radar but mine. There's a lot of Pokemon that came out that were awesome. That could have made the list. I believe when Tyrantrum came out, when it first got leaked, I guess this is my favorite, hands down. But now I've had time with the game, a year with the game pretty much, I can say that Dragalge is my 3rd favorite Pokemon that got released. It's for a couple of reasons. One, I'm actually a big fan of its design. I'm a big fan of its typing. It can get adaptability. That is its hidden ability. We don't have it yet, but adaptability, Dragon Poison. I just love the typing of Dragon Poison. I actually bred a 6 IV flawless modest Dragalge. Bred it myself, and it was awesome. I just love his design. It's something about it. It's like, it's not really minimalist in the sense. It's just cool. Like, you wouldn't think you'd see a dragon like that, but you do. And I don't know. I love the design. I love its shiny form. I love its move pool isn't terrible. Sludge Bomb, Hydro Pump, Dragon Pulse, like Thunder. It gets Thunder if you want to give it Thunder. So it gets also Venom Drench, which it lowers the attack, special attack, and speed stat of a Pokemon that's poisoned. So if you poison it first, its abilities also hit Poison Point and Poison Touch. So if Pokemon can poison stuff, you can hit with Venom Drench and lower 3 of its stats at once. I believe it's one of the only Pokemon that can use that. I actually have, but it's the only Pokemon I've known of. I think that like Scoliopedes and stuff could use it, but it's the only Pokemon that I know that like I've used it before with it, and I've combined it with Poison Touch and Poison Point. So So I love that about it, and I love Dragalge, and I love Venom Drench. I love design, and you know that. Number 2 is Aegislash. Again, competitiveness aside, this list is not obviously competitive, but I love the idea behind it. When it was released just as Honedge, we kind of didn't know what it was. I actually made a base stat prediction video assuming that it didn't evolve. Turns out it evolves twice. In Aegislash, I love the idea behind the Possessed Sword and Shield. I love the fact that it can change forms. And its stats change. That it's crazy. You have Furfrou that like changes what it looks like based on an outside influence. But in battle, Aegislash can change form, and its stats change to go with the form. I thought that's just an awesome thing that you think they would have done more of, but the fact, they brought it to light in X and Y, and it came out, and Aegislash is here, and Aegislash has put in some work, and Aegislash's mechanics are not breaking the game, but you know what I mean by they're adding mechanics of Pokemon to make them sweet. And there's adding just more stuff, and it doesn't seem like it's a big thing to add, but when it's the first time it's ever happened like that, it's actually kind of cool. Its stats can change mid-battle just based on what form it is, and I think it's sweet. And number 1, my favorite Pokemon from Pokemon X and Y is Clawitzer. It's based literally name of like a howitzer tank. B, it's a crab with a giant arm crab cannon. I'm a sucker for cannons, man. I really am. And B, its shiny form is sweet. It's got red with that, the light blue rings. I love the ability Mega Launcher as well. It's Mega Blastoise gets it as well. I love Mega Launcher. I love its animation when using attacks. It looks like it's shooting like a Kamehameha wave or something like that. His design is my favorite. As you can tell, Dragalge and Clawitzer are both in this list. They're like the X and Y exclusive. I remember when I found out about these Pokemon before the games came out. I know someone like leaked them somewhere on Reddit or something like that, and I was obsessed with these two, and then I used them, and I love Dragon Pulse, Aura Sphere, Dark Pulse, Heal Pulse in doubles if you want to get crazy. He said Aura Sphere. It gets Venoshock also. So it gets Swords Dance. It gets U-Turn. But you know that. Even though its attack stat is only like 73, it's not that high, it gets Aqua Jet as well. But its special attack stat of being 120, it can reach such a high special attack stat. I love its design the most. It doesn't get a lot of use. It's not very good competitively, but it's it is my favorite Pokemon that came out in X and Y. And I just love. I'm a sucker for cannons. You give a Pokemon a cannon, I'm gonna love it. And you give it a giant cannon arm, and it get all these moves. It's literally using its cannon to benefit itself. Mega Launcher, because of the fact it has cannons. Mega Blastoise also has cannons as Mega Launcher. So the fact that they give an ability to adhere to those cannons, even cooler. But I do want to know what you guys think below and your favorite Pokemon that came out this generation and why. I'd like to know why. My reasons are mostly aesthetic. I just love the designs mostly, but some of them are mechanically speaking. But that's essentially that. And so if you guys enjoy this video, you want to leave a like, awesome. If not, that's fine as well. But rate, comment, still. I'm seeing you guys next time. Peace.